favorite Thursday activity. I'm going to be reading you two books today around the theme of Martin Luther King Day and activism generally. Activism is a word we're going to talk about too, so don't worry if you don't know what that means. So this book is called Martin's Big Words. Has a lot of pages before it actually starts. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw signs, "White Only." His mother said these signs were in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read those words, he felt bad, until he remembered what his mother told him. "You are as good as anyone." So what they're saying when they're saying whites only is about their skin color. Because for a long time in America, people with darker skin tones were not allowed to do certain things by the government or by people or by teachers. So let's look here. So it was people who had white or light skin would often be allowed to do things and go to better schools and use better bathrooms, better drinking fountains. And that's something that Martin Luther King worked to try to change, right? Okay, here we come back. That is racism. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. "When I grow up, I'm going to get big words too." Yeah, when you get older, you do learn more and more words, but I don't know that many still. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father. It means he's like a preacher. He does stuff in churches. And he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great. He studied the teachings of Gandhi. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no and was arrested. So it used to be the law in America that if you were on a bus and your skin was not white, if someone who was white came up to you and wanted your spot, they could just say, "I want your spot," and you would have to give it to them, or the police would come and arrest you. Rosa Parks knew about this, and she sat anyways, and she did it to make a point about how wrong it was to ask people with black or brown skin to stand up for white people. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted. So there's usually a section right where specifically for black people, which is I think usually in the back of the bus. So it's harder for them to get out. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They ran in rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. So by not using the buses, they made it so that the buses didn't have enough money to keep being buses, right? Which is called a boycott. when you decide not to use something or not to buy something so that they have to make changes. When the history books are written, someone will say there lived Black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. In the next 10 years, Black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop. But they kept on marching. Wait. For years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. They were jailed and beaten and murdered, but they kept on marching. Some Black Americans wanted to fight back with their fists. Martin convinced some of them not to do so by reminding them of the power of love. Love is the key to the problems of the world. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed, his brother's house was bombed, and the FBI also tried to kill him. But he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped because God is with us in this movement. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little Black boys and little Black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not fists. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. Strike is kind of like a boycott, but it's when you decide not to work. So everyone together decides we're not going to work until you start treating us better. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On his second day there, he was shot and died. His big words are still alive with us today. Freedom, peace, together, I have a dream, love. All right. So that's our first book. Our second book is a little small one, but it's not, I don't think it's shorter. It's an alphabet one. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right. Let me double check here. Okay. I want to make sure everything's set aside for this. So this book is called A is for Activist. An activist or activism is something that we're going to do our craft on as well. Okay, here we go. So activism is when you and other people get together to make changes. So here people are getting together, as you see, and they're going to make a change. Maybe they're going to work to make it so that women are treated better, or against racism, or against a lot of different things. All right, so let's look at the first page. A is for activism. Advocate, abolitionist, ally, actively answering a call to action. Are you an activist? There's a little cat there. I wonder if that cat's an activist. A cativist? B. B is for banner, bobbing in the sky, billowing in the breeze, because you're not shy. So usually what they do is they put maybe something on there that says like, stop racism or something, or treat women better. There's that little cat again. C is for co-op, cooperating cultures, creative counter to corporate vultures. Oh, and cats. Can you find the cats? There's a little one up there. Little d, democracy. More than voting, you'll agree. Dictators detest it. Donkeys don't get it. But you and me, we don't, we demand equality. Okay. Let's pull this up here. If we go to this, democracy, it's a picture of democracy. It's when people get to decide together. So instead of just having this person decide, everyone gets to have a vote. So like, let's say they're saying, should we get pizza tonight? And let's say like 3 of these people are like, yes, but 4 of these people are like, no, then they don't get pizza. But that usually happens more with things like bigger issues, right? Not just pizza, but deciding whether or not to put a road somewhere or whether or not to build something or have something deconstructed or destroyed. Equal rights, black, brown, or white. Clean and healthy is a right. Every place we live and play, environmental justice is the way. F is for feminist, for fairness in our pay, for freedom to flourish and choose our own way. All right, so feminism, learning a whole bunch today, is, here we go. It's when men and women are treated equally. So as you can see here, they're on an equal thing. A lot of times, even when they do the same job, women aren't paid as much, or they're expected to go to work, and then when they come home, they're supposed to do all of the housework or look after the children. Feminism is more about trying to make sure that responsibilities are shared between men and women and among everyone. G is for grassroots, sprouting from below, sharing nutrients and the water's flow. Below the surface, we're all connected. Stronger together we grow. H is for healthy food, a human right. Honeydew, jicama, nature's delight. Hummus, hot dogs, Havarti cheese. Hot dogs, yes. Healthy hot dogs, please. And they wrote, and pizza in parentheses. Oh, I'm forgetting to look for the cat. See him right there. Yes. Okay, moving on. All right. Indigenous and immigrant, together we stand tall. Our histories are relevant. Injury to one is an injury to all. So Indigenous people are people who are from a place, and immigrant people are people who are new to a place. Right. So Native American people are Indigenous because they've been here and their family's been here and their family's been here, where I am descended from immigrants because my mom is not from here. She's from Malaysia and she came here. And my dad's great grandparents are from Germany and not from here. J is for justice. Yay for justice. Jiajing Jiang. Juanita, Jamal, justice for the janitors. Justica for all. Kings are fine for story time. Knights are fun to play. But when we make decisions, we will choose the people's way. So that's saying, instead of having a king decide stuff, everyone gets to decide, right? Which is what we talked about with democracy. Yeah. LGBTQ. Love who you choose because love is true. Liberate your notions of limited emotions. Celebrate with pride our links of our links of devotion. So we talked a little bit about that a few weeks ago when we talked about transgender people. Megaphone marching, movimiento music, hip hip hooray, it must be May Day. May Day, I think it's always the first day of May, but it's a holiday in May where people celebrate people who have jobs being treated better. N is for no. No, no, no. Yes to what we want. No to what must go. No, no, no. No justice, no peace, no war. They're not saying that they shouldn't have peace. They're saying that we can only have justice if we have peace. So, open minds operate best. Critical thinking over tests. Wisdom can't be memorized. Agitate, agitate, educate, agitate, organize. P, peace march. Protest. Power to the people. Yeah. So protest is when can be a lot of different things. It's strikes, as we talked about earlier, are protests. So are boycotts. So are marches, all sorts of things. Q is for question, questioning coercion, querying qualities, counter false assertions. Radical Reds, the headline said, ruinous rioters, the rumors spread, rabble-rousing riffraff. Really? So a lot of times when people, this happened to Martin Luther King, when he would march peacefully, but even though he was marching peacefully, people who were racist or people who were trying to fight against him would say that they were violent or they were destroying things. And it's important to remember that sometimes you have to look more into it. Look, here they even put Martin Luther King there. S is for sun, solar, superstar, stellar power, fuels all life, not just flowers, energize homes, cars, and showers. Silly, selfish scoundrel is sucking on dinosaur sludge. Boo, hiss. That was a lot of S's. It's kind of difficult for me. T is for trans. We just learned about trans people, again, a few months ago. F for trains, tiaras, tulips, tractors, and tires too. Trust in the true, the he, she, they, that is you. U is for weekends. U is for workers' rights. I don't think that's what workers stands. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not U. That's W. U is for union. Union, yes. So you can see a union. That means they're together. A union sometimes also strikes or boycotts together. V is for Vox. What? Did you say Fox? No, I said Vox. Did you say box? No, Vox. Rocks, blocks, socks, Vox. Vox of the people. Voice of the populi, or the people. Voice of the people. Better go see the letter D. The letter D for democracy. Wondrous world, wondrous we. We cannot be whole, we cannot be free, unless we delight in diversity. All sorts. X is for Malcolm, as in Malcolm X. History's lessons can be complex. Remember Parks, remember King. Parks, remember, is Rosa Parks, who's the person who would not stand up. King, as in Martin Luther King. Remember Malcolm and let freedom ring. Malcolm X is another person who worked a lot to fight racism at the same time that Martin Luther King did, but he was part of a different group. But they still did a whole bunch as well. Y is for you and youth, your planet, your rights, your future, your truth. Y is for yes, 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 yes. Z is for Zapatista, of course. And then you have the little Zapatista cat. The Zapatistas are another group that advocates or is into activism in Mexico for indigenous people. All right, I'm going to be right back, and then we're going to do our little craft, which will be kind of different from the other kind of crafts that we've done. All right, see you in a second. Hi everyone, I'm back. And what we're going to do here, either with a piece of paper or on the computer, is we're going to make a list of things that we'd like to see changed, right? So Martin Luther King was fighting racism. So I'm going to write racism too, because even though Martin Luther King did a lot to fight racism, as well as Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and a whole bunch of other people, it's still very much still a problem in America today. Let's see, let's put sexism. So that's when men are treated better than women. Let's say pollution. Okay. And let's say let's say land seizure. So that's when they take away land from people. So out of these four, then we're going to pick one. You could pick any one you want, but I'm going to decide to pick land seizure. And I'm going to think about, now we're going to list things that we might do to help with this problem, right? So with land seizure, some of the things that are going on right now are protests, right? People are at the land and they're holding signs, or they're staying together and saying, you can't take our land from us. Another thing we could do is raise money. We can raise money so that the people who are protesting have more have money to like stay warm while they're on the land, or to try to get more people involved. Let's see. Another thing we could do is we could call or write a letter to the government, because the government has the power to stop a lot of problems. Writing a letter to the government, usually to one of your representatives or senators, can help get something changed. Let's see here. What's another thing we could do? We could raise awareness. So that would be like maybe talking about it to trying to talk about it to a whole bunch of other people, or releasing something online, or trying to get the news to talk about it. All of those things can be raising awareness. And then there are things like, what else can we do? We can ask what the protesters need. So that's a big one, is that In order to know how to help people, sometimes the best thing to do is to ask them what they need. So, as we see, we have a list of things, and today I want you to try to, even if it's not very much, try to start on one of the solutions to a problem you think that there is, right? So today I'm going to uh, talk with some people who are organizing to protest. Maybe you will look up how to write like a letter or something to the government, or maybe you chose people being hungry as your problem. In which case, maybe you're like, I'm going to try to give some food to the food shelter or the food bank. All right. Well, I can't really stay with you that whole time because I'm on a computer and it's kind of hard to move it around. But I'll see you all in next week where we are talking about. Oh, I don't remember what we're talking about. I guess we'll see. It'll be a surprise for both of us. Bye.